those young coaches, man, who are aspiring to have this relationship and dynamic with an individual to take them to the promised land, that Olympics. And what's the one piece of advice that, man, we met when I was 23 years old? Like, what's the one piece of advice, brand new coach, very green, that you'd give to stick to it, to get to where you are today?
I think the first thing, which I think is interesting because I have had other jobs in the industry, right? But I've always coached. So I think that there's certain industries that you could kind of skip. You could skip levels. And in our industry, in the coaching world, we try to do that with certifications. We try to do this with credentials or environments. But athletes are like dogs and kids. They can filter through your bullshit better than anyone else. So the most important thing is to be honest with them and let them know and develop that trust with them. Because my boxing coach, Bruce Babashan, says this, and it was like, it hit me hard. If someone ever says something to you and it just hits you hard, gratitude is the shortest lived emotion. And you could do something for somebody and you could be there for them and loyal and done everything for them for years. And they're super grateful. And then the minute it goes away like that, and it's like they don't even know you. And loyalty doesn't matter because loyalty is only tested when there's adversity. I'm super loyal. It is only tested when there's adversity. So gratitude is the shortest lived emotion. So make sure that your intention is always good, because if your intention is bad or not clear, you're going to get exposed quick. And I think, we could go and we could tell 17 different stories on how you and I connected or how other people met. But I just met somebody, a couple months ago that knew John, might have played with him too. And he's like, yeah, I heard you on a podcast, whatever. And I'm like, that's crazy, like small world. So your relationships matter, trust matters, but your intention matters more than anything. I think it's critical. And I think don't be afraid to, as a coach, be like, nowadays you got to be honest with the athletes about what your intention is with using their likeness, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
bad at this, right? Like I don't share my stuff and I have a large following on social media. I have a large group of people that follow me. I have a big platform. And yet I'm very shy. I'm very hesitant to show the progress. I normally kind of like, I show the retiring process where like after the kid's done, I'm like, hey, this was amazing. And people are like, I didn't know you worked with him. I'm like, well, it's none of your business. It's the athlete that's doing it, not me.
Mm-hmm.
I say this all the time, but there's no room for a coach on the podium. And I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if are you a big like wrestling fan at all? Like, I don't know. I was never a big wrestling fan growing up, but there's one guy that like, even if you're not a wrestling fan, you know who he is. And, he set me straight. Like when I say set me straight, he kicked my teeth in with this. So he reaches out to me on YouTube. I kind of ignored it because I thought it was spam. Then he reaches out to me on Instagram, and I'm like, is this guy like the legit person who I think it is? And I check the profile, and it says like 1 point something million people. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's a real account, not a spam account. And he called me out. He's like, what, are you big timing me now? Like, and I'm like, I totally fucked up. And it was Goldberg,
All
like
right. Yeah.
the freaking Goldberg.
He lives out in Blanco. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, hey, I shot him a message back like, hey, listen, I get spam all the time. I didn't know if it was you or not, but now that I know it is, if we can move past this, I'm sorry. Let's go to work. What can I do? And here's a guy who I got to go out to his place in Texas. And I'll tell you what, one of the smartest professional athletes, one of the smartest professionals I've ever met. No joke. Intellectual understanding, just gets it. Like you meet somebody and they just go, they fucking get it. This guy fucking gets it. And he called me out on my bullshit. He goes, that's your insecurity. You need to get it out there. You need to adapt. You need to put it out there. You need to show the world, because someone else is going to either take credit, someone else is going to do those things, and you're going to miss the opportunity. Don't make it hard. And it was a wake up call for me, because I mean, he didn't need to tell me that, number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't really help him to like be very direct with me like that. Like, what is he getting out of me? He's ain't going to get nothing. He get nothing out of me. But you know what he did? Immediately with me, this guy's in it for the right reasons. All he cares about is to be like, look, I'm not like, he was just trying to do something for my success. And it just so happens that he has a son that's, 15 years old and is going to be a freaking stud football player. He's a stud baseball player right now. He's going to be a monster on the football field. Works right up my alley. And all of a sudden now there's a little bit of value there that I could offer. And there's a relationship that if I do right and he'll do right, it will probably be a lot longer than most people's relationship that are very short-lived because they're always looking for something. And I'm very clear with those expectations. So, he called me straight out and he goes like, look, you got to adapt to the current circumstances. And you'll see coaches all the time. Oh, I'm not into social media. That's garbage. And they're young coaches. You and I, no offense, but we didn't start with Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat. We didn't start with this. If we had this, like if we had the licensing deal, the ability to sell our likeness in college, oh my goodness.
Danger zone.
So, you guys should have power athlete college athletes right now that are sponsored.
Ooh,
just like
any D3 All-Stars out there, let us know. Training, gear, we can help you out.
Yeah, man. Let's get some power athlete gear in these kids' hands and go to work.
Oh, yeah. For note on that, email Raven at powerathletehq.com. We are trying just it.